Hey everyone, so for today's video, we are going to discuss lesson 4.2, the continuation for the lesson 4.1. So in this discussion, in this video, we are going to discuss formulas, how to copy and paste formulas, the cell referencing, relative referencing, absolute referencing. Let me change to laser point. How to enter a formula, and we are going to discuss functions, math operators, logical operators, charts, and references. And before we start, I have a gift for you here. So let's start. So formulas are and functions are bread and butter of Excel. So they drive almost everything interesting and useful you will ever do in a spreadsheet. So what is a formula? So formulas are instructions for calculations. They define how one cell relates to another cell or other cell. It is an expression that returns a specific result. Let's say, for example, this one. So this one is a formula. So 1 plus 1, it returns 3. Let's have an example of that. So sundugon lang na to. Let's say 1 plus 2. Then we click enter. Kalimtan ang equal. So, again, in writing a formula, do not forget the equal sign. Because if you're going to just enter that 1 plus 2, it will also return just this data because we are just simply writing a raw data. So, we are going to put equal to become a formula. So, we have 3. So, 1 plus 2 is equals to 3. So, do not forget the equal sign. Do not forget, let's say here, do not forget, note. Sorry. No. Do not forget the equal or this one sign. So do not forget the equal sign. So let's move on. So another example, we have this one, the division operator. So note all formulas in Excel must begin with an equal sign. So do not forget to write the equal sign. So let's say, for example, I'm going to have this one, 6 divide 3. So if I do not put equal sign, so ingana ang magawas. So kabantay mo that 6 becomes like this because this one, we have to format. So again, if you remember the format cell discussion, so we have to format this one into a number because we are using a number and we do not want a decimal place that there, so we put 0. So again, we write 6 divide 3. So if I'm not going to put an equal sign, so ingana lang na siya. So, di ba, nakabantay mo ni equal to siya bisag wala ako nagbutang equal because naka-format siya into a number. So, it is automatically nga mo ingadto. But again, if ngara lang na siya, wala na siya naka-format into a number, let's look at this. So, naka-general siya. So, kabantay mo, so format. Do not forget the equal sign. Diba? Do not forget the equal sign for writing a formula. So, let's say, for example, 6. So, we have 12 divide 6. So, it is equals to 2. So, let's delete this one. So, I'm gonna delete the whole columns and rows. So, it creates a new column and row. So, these are the operations na atong gamiton that we are going to use when we are using Microsoft Excel. So, for the multiplication, so we have this symbol, the asterisk. So, for the division, we have this one, the addition plus, and the subtraction. So, we have this one. So, cell references. If values are hard-coded, that means result won't change unless you edit the formula again and change a value manually. So generally, this is considered bad form because it hides information and makes it harder to maintain a spreadsheet. So let's say, for example, I have a data here, 2 and 3. Then I'm going to add this one. So I'm entering the answer manually or hard-coded. So 2 plus 3 is Let's say, for example, 5. So, ingana. So, what if I'm going to change the 2 here into 3? So, 3 plus 3 is not 5, diba? So, it is 6. So, what I'm gonna do is equal. Then, this one, click the first. So, we click the A1. Then, we put the addition operator. Then, we click the B2 and click enter. So, that would be 6. So, if I'm going to change this one into 7, so 3 plus 7, we have 10. So, that one. So, that one. It is a bad form when writing, diba? If I'm not going to put an equal sign there, it is, if I'm going to just do a hard code coding or encoding, it will be a bad form of encoding, because if you want to change the data here, dili ma-change and dili if we are not going to put equal sign, diba? So that is as cell references or referencing. So we have here, instead, use cell references or referencing, so values can be changed at any time. So that is in an example of cell referencing. So in default, we are using cell referencing. So in the sample below, C1 contains the formula A1 plus A2 plus A3. So we have 9. So let's copy that one. So for example, we have 1, 2, 3. So if I'm going to just hard code the sum of these 3, so 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3, so we have 6. But if we are going to add equals there, then delete this one, equals A plus A2. So we have row 2 and we have row 3, and click enter. So we have 6. And if we want to change the value of A row 2 to 4, and we enter, so it automatically changed the value to 8. So that is a cell referencing. So notice, because we are using cell references for A1, A2, and A3, these values can be changed at any time, and C1 will still show the accurate result. So let's say, for example, if I'm not using cell referencing. So ako lang ni manumanuhon, di ba? 1 plus 4 plus 3. So that one, so equals to 8. But what if I'm going to change the value of A1 to 9? Di ba wala na change ang value dere? So what I'm gonna do is use the cell referencing. So cell referencing is, I'm going to click that one, then add, and that one, then add, add, and that one, and enter. So whenever I want to change the value here, mo change po ng iyang total. So, okay. I hope you get that one. So that is a cell referencing. Again, I will be giving the PDF file. I will be uploading the PDF file sa atong Google Drive folder. So, all formulas return a result. So, all formulas in Excel return a result, even when the result is an error. So below, a formula is used to calculate percent change. The formula returns a correct result in D2. So we have here D2. So follow the laser point D2 to D3. But the D4 returns a hashtag divide 0. So it is an error in D4 because B4 is empty. So diba, can you see here? Our formula is C4 minus B4. So we have C4 minus B4, and we divide it into B4. But the problem here is we don't have data sa atong B4, diba? Let me change this into pen. So we do not have data here sa B4. So that result to an error. So that one. So there are different ways of handling errors. So in this case, you could provide the missing value in B4. So How about how to copy and paste formulas? So the beauty of cell references is that they automatically update when a formula is copied to a new location. So this means you don't need to enter the same basic formula again. So for this one, so in this sample, the formula in E1, so we have E1, has been copied to the clipboard using Control C. So, diba, as you can remember our discussion before, that if we are going to copy the anything that we are going to copy, is that thing or that data that we copied is moved to clipboard. So for example, I'm going to click this and Control C, copy. So this value or this formula is automatically copied to the clipboard. So let's say we are going to paste it here. Copy and paste. So yung ana siya. So as you can see, kung nakabantay mo is 8. Why 8? Because every time we copy this one, move sad ang iyang column. So move na siya. So we will discuss later on how what to do so that the values won't be moved. So kani dili ma-move. Let's discuss that later on. So that's another type of referencing. So here again, so we are still in the cell referencing. So that is the default. So again, in this sample, the formula in E1 has been copied to the clipboard using Control plus C. So we have here below, formula pasted to the cell E2 with using Control V. Notice cell references have changed. Diba na? Change po ang cell references. So same formula pasted to E3. Na change po siya. So that one, you can review this PowerPoint slide later on after sa tong discussion. So relative and absolute references. So what we do here, the cell references, it is called the relative references. So that is also the common or the default reference that we are using, the relative referencing. So relative references changes when a formula is copied to another cell. So again, let's say for example, I'm going to copy this one and I'm gonna paste it to E1. So the formula is changed. Diba? Nakabantay mo, it changed. So mo na si relative references or referencing rather. So note, the cell references of the sample on the previous slide are called relative references. So this means that the reference is relative to the cell it lives in. So they are relative to the cell it lives in. So we have relative references. So by default, all the cell references are relative references rather. So when we copied across the multiple cells, they change based on the relative position of rows and columns. So relative references are especially convenient whenever you need to repeat the same calculation across multiple rows or columns. So we have here an example of relative referencing. So we will not go deeper with this. So we want to create a formula. So that is an example. We select cell that will contain the formula. So in our example, we'll select D2. The next, enter the formula. So we enter B2 times C2. And then click the fill handle, drag this to the bottom, and so you have this one. So once you release the mouse, because you are going to drag this, diba, the fill handle, so you are going to hold your mouse and drag it to the bottom, and once you release the mouse, the formula will be copied to the selected cells with relative references, and the values will be calculated in each cell. So that is an example of our relative referencing. So note, you can double click the field cells to check their formulas for accuracy. So if you want to check if you're not sure if sakto ba ang inyong formula, so you can always double click so that you can check if your formula is accurate. So the relative cells references should be different for each cell depending on its row. So that is an or relative referencing. So we go to the absolute references. So absolute references Unlike relative references, it do not change when copied or filled. So you can use an absolute reference to keep a row and column constant. So let's say, for example, I have, so let's delete this one. So let's delete this one. So we are going to delete this one, delete again the whole, to make sure that the format of the cell is in the default. So let's say, for example, I have, let's total your, say for example, this is a quizzes, or quiz 1 na lang, quiz 1, quiz 2, and quiz 3. So let's say, for example, that one. And we have your midterm exam. So let's compute your grade. So we are going to compute your grade. Okay. So we have, for the quizzes, we have 20% man to, diba? What? Wait, let me pause the video and I'm gonna check kung usa to yung grading system. Okay, let's continue. So your quizzes is 20%. You have 20% in each. So let's put it here na lang. So let's delete this one. 20%, 20%, 20%, and you have 2, 4, 6, 40% for your midterm exam. So you have here, next, for example, your quizzes is total, let's insert highest score. So that's the highest score, for example. So we have 20 kunuhay, over 20, and over 100. So let's say Pistral. Dari na lang. So I got, let's say, perfect lang sa kunuhay. Oh no. O sige, perfect. Sige, 100. So for this one, we are going to compute your score. So for this one, we have, let me delete this one. So we have here, so we are going to compute your midterm grade. So let's say, for example, we have another student here. So perfect. Let's see a perfectness. So let's see 15, 10, 13. So we have 80 kunuhan. So we are first going to total your, dili, wala na ko ging ani pag-compute in yung grade, but ato lang manumanuhon. So we are going to total this one. So we have kani plus C3 plus D3. So equals, so to the highest total score for your quizzes are 60. High. And we also want to compute this one. So ato sa nakuha niyang highest score. Kay your quizzes is a total of 246. So 60%. So let's say here na lang, quizzes is, asa man nato ibutaw? Ngari lang. This is for the quiz. Quiz percentage. Percentage na lang ana. So we have 60%. 60, or let's say 0.60. Okay, 60% man, diba? 0.6. And for your midterm, we have 0.40. So a total, 0.4. So a total of 40 plus 60 is 100%. So let's put percent here. So let's remove the format. Let's remove the decimal. So we have that one. So 60 na siya. So this one nato lang i-drag. So as you can see here, na total po na siya. Wala na to gyapil si midterm exam because that is a different percentage. So we are going to compute your grade here. So grade kunuhay na. Let's say, before we compute your grade, we have to get the 60% of this one. So let's insert another column. So this one is the total percentage na lang first. Total percentage. Then your grade. So let's move here. So let's say, for example, 60. So how are we going to compute the 60%? So 60 times, we get this one. Okay. Okay. What if we are going to make this 70%? So easier ra siya pag check. So 36. So let's drag this one. Can you see the value? Diba nag-error siya? Why? Because if we click that one, nabutang na siya sa highest score. Diba? That is the problem of relative cell referencing, diba? But if we are going to use the absolute referencing, so let's go back to our slide. So absolute referencing is designated in a formula. Let me check kung nag-record ba. Okay. Is designated in the formula by addition of a dollar sign before the column and row. So if it precedes the column or row, but not both, it known as a mixed reference. So we have here, so this one is a relative reference. So wala siya dollar sign, and this one have dollar sign absolute references or reference, and this one is the mixed reference. So note, you will use the relative and absolute format in most formulas. So mixed references are used less frequently. So we are going to use the absolute referencing here, because if we are not going to use the absolute referencing, mag-error jud siya. So what we are going to do is remove this one, and we put the dollar sign here for the column and for the row. So we click that one, we enter, then we drag. So as you can see, it's 23 because na-lock na siya. So again, absolute references or referencing locks the data. Gilock niya ang value sa column and sa row. So, nga na. Okay, so we have 36. So we are going to add now your grade. So equals this one. Oh, we forgot the kuan percentage for your final exam. So I mid percentage na lang. So for your midterm percentage, we have equals this one times 40%. So we times that to 40%. Again, we need to put let's do not put kuan sa dollar sign. So let's see, gidrag na 8,000 siya because git times to 1,000. So again, we delete this one and we put dollar sign to lock the data. So dollar sign here and there. So we have 40%. So now we are going to compute our grade. So equals, we are going to add this one because a total of 100, diba? So we're going to add plus 40. So nakay 76 imong grade. Then i-compute pa na siya, transpose pa na siya into 1.25 nga na. So your grade is 76. So this one is the absolute references. So we use this so that our data or the column will be constant. Okay. So for example, we want to multiply. So we have here another example. So let's skip this one. So notice the reference of D1 updates, which with the formula is copied, but the reference to A1 never changes. So diba, it never changed. Si A1. Let's go back here, diba? Si E5, we have here E5, diba? Then pag abot dali is E6. But si E2 is constant. Sa both, diba? E2 is constant. So that is absolute referencing. Okay. So another example, absolute referencing. So we'll use 7.5 sales tax rate. So let's move na lang. So just kuan na lang, see the examples here sa atong PowerPoint, sa PDF file that I will be going to post in our Google Drive folder. So step 1, we have this data. Step 2, we type this formula and we drag. We use the fill handle to drag. Then we enter. Okay, so we enter. Then we have that one. So we are going to use an absolute reference. So we put dollar sign there. So again, dollar sign is for absolute referencing. So now the absolute reference should be the same for each cell. So we have this one. So E1 is always constant, see 7.5. As you can see, my laser point here, 7.5 is always constant. So di na siya ma-change in whatever row ang atong tan-aw. Okay. So note, be sure to include the $sign whenever you're making an absolute reference, diba? Because that is the sign for absolute reference. So the $sign were omitted in the example. This caused the spreadsheet to interpret it as relative reference. Okay. So kung wala na siya $sign, so ma-interpret na sa spreadsheet as relative reference because as a default, our spreadsheet uses relative reference as a default. So we need to use $sign to make it an absolute reference. So here how to enter your formula. So do not forget the equal sign. Always start with an equal sign if you are going to write a formula. So we move on to functions. Okay. Functions are built-in formulas that perform common calculations. So all spreadsheet programs include common functions that can be used for quickly finding the sum. We have the examples of function here. Let's go here. So for example, we have this one. So we click this one to see the functions. So insert functions. So we have average, and this one here is the description. So sum. This one here. This one, sum adds all number in a range of cell. We have the average, return average, the if. We have the logical if here, the hyperlink. So we have a lot of functions here. So we have here formula, and we have here functions. Let's go back to our slide. So in most cases, functions have names that reflect their intended use. Like for example, the sum. So it gets the sum of the numbers. And for the average, it gets the average of the data. So in order to work correctly, a function must be written in a specific way, so which is called the syntax. So we have this syntax for our function. So like sa mga math problems, we also have the syntax. We have here the argument, the function name, and do not forget again the equal sign. So the function name, we have the sum. For example, we have sum. And for the argument, we have this one, ang sulod sa parentheses. Everything that is inside the parentheses is the argument. So arguments contain the information you want to calculate. The function in the example below would add values of the cell range A1 to A20. So let's say for example, diba, we add this one man and we use the addition operation. But we want to make it shorter. Okay, what if we have a lot of data? So daghan po na to ibutang. So what we are going to do is remove that one. So we have here equal sign and sum. So we have sum adds all data or numbers in range of cells. So again, the range, we are going to highlight this one from here. So from D5 to D5. So we close the argument and click enter. So that is the ignore error. So that is an example of using the formula. So easier na lang siya. Next, arguments can be referred to both individual cells and range cells and must be enclosed with parentheses. So you can include one argument or multiple arguments depending on the syntax required for the function. Next, wait I'm checking if I'm recording. Basig wala na record. So for example, we have this function, average. So we are going to get the average of the range from B1 to B9. So this function contains only one argument, diba? One argument lang. So for example, we have a lot of arguments. So multiple arguments must be separated by a comma. So for example, we have this one. So for example, sum A1 to A3, and C1 to C2 and E2, then we add this all up. So, for example, we have that data nga nagbuwag-buwag. So, we highlight this one and highlight another one and this one. So, it is separated by a comma. So, that is a multiple argument example. So, there are varieties of functions. Here are some of the most common functions we are going to use or we are using. So, we have the sum. So, it adds all the values. We have the average. We have the count. It counts the number of cells with numerical data. We have the max, the maximum. We have the minimum for the lowest. So we have here, for example, we have the sum. So sum and the argument is this one. It's just an example, huh? For the average, we have this one. And today returns the current date. So leave the parentheses empty. We leave the parentheses empty. So let's take an example for today. Let's here lang equals today. Today. So, it's November 22, 2022. So, ingana siya, automatic siya. And as you can see here sa formula bar na to, equals today ang naa. Okay, it returns the date today. Okay. So, example of using function. So, we have this one. Just see na lang. Let's move on to another topic. So, these are the examples. So we have the math operators. As we discussed a while ago, we use the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. For the exponent, we have this one. And for the parentheses, we have this one. So for the logical operators, so we have equal to, for example, this one, A1 is equals to 10. And this one, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal to. So that one, that are an example of the logical operators. So for the charts, you can use spreadsheet packages to create analytical graphic or charts or analytical graphics. So it is a business graphic that makes numeric data easier to analyze than it is when organized as row and columns of numbers. So in Excel, you enter your data to the worksheet, select the data, and use chart wizard to set through the chart type of and various options. So we have here how to create a chart. So we select the data. For example, we delete this one. We delete this one along. This one. We delete this one. So we delete this all. So we only have this. Okay. So we select this one, delete name. So we select this one. So we select the data, click insert and recommended chart. So we click the insert tab and we go to chart. So we can, as you can see here, we have a lot of options. So let's say we are going to use this one. So I want the 3D. So that one. So we have here. So that's how you insert charts. So you can choose different, we can choose different, charts, whatever you want. So we can also choose pie chart. I want the 3D pie chart. Okay, so that one, I have this data here. So midterm exam is highest for Pesaral. Okay, so we can use different. Okay. So you have a lot of options here as a chart. So you can drop this down. So choose the chart you want to add. So down. Okay, next. Okay, so in formatting the Excel, the chart. Let's say, for example, we have this one. Let's just use the 3D. Okay, we have the 3D one. So to edit the chart title, you can simply double click. For example, we have results. Okay, results. That one. Then you can edit your charts. So just border, we have the fill. So we have solid fill. So you can no fill, you have no fill. So transparency, yeah. So that one. So you can explore this one on your own. So I will be giving this PDF to you later on after the discussion. Okay, we have Excel chart types. So we have that one, examples of Excel. So that would be all for the module 3, diba? Easy lang because I know you are already using Microsoft Excel. So this is just an refreshment for you guys. So I hope you learned something for this module, and I will be posting module 5 next week. So see you. I mean, not see you. So I hope you listen well and you understand well the discussions. If you have questions, just message me or email me, and you know where to find me. Okay, thank you all, and God bless. See ya. I mean, see ya on finals. God bless. Bye. Let me stop recording. Bye.